Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It is the Toyota Winners Lounge and the Colorado parlay tonight. The Winners Lounge brought to you by our friends at your Front Range Toyota dealers. A big thank you as we get you all set for the DNVR postgame show. And so happy to have you. This one presented by our friends at Bet365. With Bet365, it is never, ever ordinary. When you download that app, enter code DNVR365 and make sure you get yourself all of the hookups and the benefits that come along with it. Make sure that you are physically located in Colorado, 21 and over, and gambling responsibly. If you do need help or someone you know needs help, just go ahead and dial or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Nick Gismondi, Nathan Rudolph, Eric Lacroix, Miss Tiffany hanging out with us as well. Glad to have you guys all along for this one. It is the postgame show, a 4-0 victory for the Colorado Avalanche. Didn't see that one coming necessarily in this fashion.
Nope.
But you'll take it.
Yep.
A huge victory on the road. The second there, the SEGABABA, and a very big victory. So many things to be happy about in this one. We'll break it all down for you. But as we always do, let's get that 30,000-foot reaction first.
30,000-foot reaction. I think you watch this game and you go, oh, right, I remember why people thought this team could be a contender.
Yeah.
That is a fantastic hockey game. Even the portions of the game where they did not play particularly great, they weathered. This is a team that I think is starting to learn how to survive their downs a little bit. They're leveling out that roller coaster enough that you can go out and play a good hockey game and not let the low end of the game is not only not destroying you, but allowing you to, in this case, run away with a hockey game.
Yeah, I mean, absolute clinic by the Avalanche. You call that a clinic? It was pretty to watch, and I still believe. I mean, we talked about it in the pregame there. You get the lead in that first period, it makes a big difference. You saw that last game. You saw it tonight. And especially on a SEGABABA, once you get that going for you, sky's the limit. You can only look up. And again, Rudo just said it. This is a championship caliber team, and this is why if you watch this team all the time, you got to pick them to do some damage in the playoffs. You have to. You have to. After a game like this is not being like, oh, God, they're playing great. No, this is what they are, and they're still missing some pieces, as we know. But when they do have some goaltending, when they do have some special teams, like Rudo's going to talk about the PK later, like the pieces are there. The pieces are there for them to do some damage.
Yeah, they haven't put it all together in one game enough this year. They put most of it together tonight.
Yeah, I mean, let's start with. There's a lot of things to talk about on this one, but let's start with the obvious. What a performance by Wedgewood in net.
Yep. He led in a first Avalanche goalie this season to post a 0. And did he face an unbelievable amount of shots? No. Did he face some high danger ones that he had to stop? Yes. Is he a big reason why the Avs killed 3 penalties tonight? Yes. He did his job and did what he had to do. And it took the Devils doing illegal things to get a puck in behind him. That's the only way they could get a puck in the net. And those don't count. So credit to Wedgewood. Tip my cap. As I say with both of the goalies, I don't think one game ever changes my mind about them being the solution long-term for Colorado. But if the Avs are getting goaltending, it shows what they can do. They can beat good teams handily with a couple of good saves.
They should have won yesterday more decisively and didn't. Got away with it. Good win, no doubt about it. But this one's a big one.
It is. You have to feel pretty good. I know chat is very up and down emotionally. If you're in the low lows when they lose the games like they did to Carolina the other night, you got to be in the high highs when they beat a team like New Jersey like this.
Yeah, and I'll say it again. When it comes to goaltending, I do believe, and I mean that sincerely, To be the goaltender for the Avalanche nowadays, like to this year's edition, you don't have to be great. You don't have to be great. You just have to be good, and you have to do your job. And we've seen that last game. We've seen that tonight. This is not a team that gives up a lot. Again, you end period, the second period, what, they gave up 2 shots? Is that the Avalanche? I mean, right? And you're talking about, yeah, I mean, you're talking about the New Jersey Devils. This is a team, one of the few teams in the league that's got over 100+ goals already in the National Hockey League. This is a good team. This is Jesper Bratt that's at the top of the league with McKinnon in scoring. This is obviously Jack Hughes, all elite, all world player. You got Heischer that's got as many goals as Mikko Rantanen. This is high-powered offense, but the Avalanche on a SEGABABA give them squad. You know what I mean? So that shows you what the Avalanche are about. They're good at puck possession. They're good because especially we see the addition of what Ross Colton does. We'll talk about that a little bit later, right? It really solidifies.
Going there next, actually. So
yeah. That's what I mean. I'm going to move on from it. I'm saying it solidifies everything. And next thing you know, you're missing a big piece in Manson on a top 40, but guys are stepping in right now. And again, sure didn't look like it was a big hole there on defense tonight, in a sense that even, Middleton, all 6 guys, were fine. They did their job. And once you do that, and like Rudo said, they figured out how to manage their lows, because you will have lows in a game, especially tonight. Like the New Jersey Devils are a good team. So you're going to have a little bit of lows, like even the start of the third period, as we saw them, have a little bit of a push. You need saves. And I'll stick to that. I don't care who's in net. If you make saves, why gives your teams wings, and he certainly calms the waters. And like Rudo said, his point was, that they figure out the lows, and that's exactly. Get some saves, and everything's figured out.
Yeah, he's right. I know you want to go to Colton, so we can move to that, or at least the second line, because that's kind of where I want to go next too.
Yeah, I mean, the second line was great, and we talk about the fact that you got to get that depth scoring. It was something that we certainly talked about way ahead of time. We talked about it in the pregame show as well, and that depth scoring is what's going to kind of give you that consistency, give you that balance. Second line was good. The addition of Ross Colton back into the lineup has been massive. I think he's just been fantastic. And he's also helped to get Mitzi going, which I absolutely love. And we knew that was going to be a thing, and it's certainly coming to fruition.
Yeah. I think you saw Casey Middlestat get his confidence all the way back tonight.
100%.
And he is that good of a player. He's fully capable of being that guy. And that's because, guess what? He gets to pass the puck to Val Nichushkin and Ross Colton now. There's a little bit of a difference. He's had Nichushkin for a couple of games, but he gets Ross Colton back. He feeds him a puck, and Ross Colton finishes it. And this is no offense to Ivan or Nikolai Kovalenko or the guys they've been filling in on that second line. Ross Colton's a better goal scorer than any of those dudes they've had filling that role, and he showed it immediately in this hockey game. Casey is supposed to be the setup man. He's scored a lot of goals early in this year out of necessity for the Avalanche, but he is supposed to be the guy getting the primary assists, and you have to put finishers around him. Val finishes okay, but he's a little bit more of an individual play driver. Colton is the finisher that Casey Middlestat needs.
Here's what I'll add to it. I don't remember who said it last game, the Red Wing game, about Middlestat. Said it's a start. He didn't have his greatest game, but the one thing he did have was a cookie, right? Guys, they feed on cookies. They feed on points, right? He had that assist, and, it just kind of, you could see, it just makes you feel better. If you're a guy that gets points and you don't get points for about 10 games, it just eats at you. And then just getting off the schneids that way just kind of gets you going. And tonight he just keeps going with it. He finds, obviously, Roscoe there in the slot. Middlestat, I do believe he is the best behind the goal line for the Avalanche. Gretzky's old office, right? I bet you, in my book, Casey Middlestat's the best on the Avalanche roster to find guys in the front there, like we saw in that goal. And then again, you're seeing Ross Colton. People were, talking about, is he going to come back at center? Is he going to come back as a wing? What's he going to come back at? You know what? I think it's proven to us that he's probably a better winger than a centerman.
Yeah.
And, he's certainly filling that role right now. And, again, not even going back to where he was in the penthouse with McKinnon and obviously Rantanen, and things have been shuffled a little bit. But again, for me, the Avalanche, with the number of assets that they have on the top six, you can, mix and match, as we all know, and the Blednar kind of gets going a little bit at times. But I, truly believe that the addition of Ross Colton is a huge factor in those 2 wins. You look back right now, and then, he's 2-0 since his return. So that is certainly a big piece.
The Avs 3-1 on this road trip right now, absolutely crushing it. I like him on the wing. I do like him on the wing. He's fine on the wing. Leave him on the wing.
I agree. I think you have to at this point. With the way he was playing before he got hurt, the way he's come back, he's a winger, man. Just accept it. Let him be that winger, and you can go figure out your 3C or whatever it is later.
Well, something else that I really like about that second line is just the pressure that they're taking off of the first line. And people giving McKinnon a little bit of crap because he hasn't really necessarily dominated in the last few games. But I think you're wrong about that. I feel like he does things out there that are still moving the needle, even if it isn't necessarily points on the board.
Yeah. When you look at Corsi close, which is when this game was within 1 goal, the Avs' best line was their top line when it comes to possession. And yeah, they didn't finish super well tonight. McKinnon and Mikko both had opportunities that they failed to put in the back of the net. But when you have a quality second line, when you're getting a little bit of depth production, they don't have to finish as much. They keep the puck in the offensive zone. They dominate possession. They make life hard for New Jersey. And when you're up 2-0 already, guess what? That helps burn New Jersey's legs out. That puts them on an even level with where the Avs' legs were tonight. And yeah, you would like to see them score. You would much rather Nathan McKinnon had points tonight. But ultimately, you were still able to get production out of your top line. Lehkonen scored a goal tonight. Mikko picks up an assist on the empty net goal. Is that pretty? No. But you can do your job with more than just points. Now, I think there was a long stretch of the season where, frankly, the Avs just needed their top line to score 3 points every night. But you have enough pieces. You have Val back. You have Colton back. You have enough pieces that you're going to get some scoring from elsewhere, where a good night without points isn't the big problem that it used to be.
A game like tonight. Yeah, go ahead, E.
No, I was just going to say, oh my Lord, I threw up in my mouth a couple times tonight in a good way, not in a bad way. I was putting myself back as a player, and I was like, there's a couple shifts where the top line was just buzzing, and like you said, they didn't score. But I'm like, oh my God, if I was pinning my own end right now, I'd be throwing up. That's why I threw up in my mouth, and I was like, oh my God, these guys are so world class, they're so elite. They can dominate a shift like nobody else can in the National Hockey League. Yes, did they score? No, but I'll tell you one thing: it just made me realize how dominant those guys can be. And you know what? Like you said, if you're getting production from somebody else, then so be it. Then might as well have the production next game if the other guys are not producing. You don't want to produce all in one night, then you'll have a 15-0 drubbing. You don't need that.
You just need to find this level of consistency too is what needs to be bottled and repeated. You have to find the repeatability of the consistency here that you're getting, so that you're not just relying on certain things every single game. You need to really balance it all out, and that takes all the pressure off.
100%. The Avs are capable of having that consistency, but they have not had it in enough categories this year.
Yeah.
I think they can get there. I think they're starting to get there even, I would say. Better late than never if they do get there.
Just get there. I mean, this road trip, obviously, we'll talk when they get back about the benefits and the bonds that probably have occurred as a result of it. I think there's a big part of that that factors in, and I love that. I mean, I want them to, I want them to have that consistency because it's good for the whole. But for me, I really truthfully think that road trips kind of bind you, and I think that we're seeing that a little bit because there seems to be another more succinct level of chemistry here also.
Yeah, I does feel like things are finally starting to fall into place, and it's not just the top guys. You're starting to see your depth lines I don't know if I want to say get it together, but connect a little bit better. They're starting to make that one extra cycle pass, or the defenseman is connecting with the forward, as we saw in the LOC goal, which I'm sure we'll talk about. Those little details, they're not all perfect. There's still things you can nitpick at, but a lot more of them, especially I think in the offensive zone, are starting to come together for this team. Yeah, they still have down stretches, they still have up stretches, but at a certain point, that's just NHL hockey. There's some randomness to it.
They showed up. It was definitely game time today for the Colorado Avalanche, and they answered the bell and understood the assignment. And that's why we love Game Time and the folks at Game Time, because of all the cool stuff that they do. And if you use code DNVR, you get $20 off. Listen, Game Time is so cool. They have a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all of the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The cool thing about Game Time, as Tiff is showing us, it's super easy to see and understand what's what. I get confused by these apps sometimes when I can't really understand what the pricing is or where the seat is at. One of my favorite features is this virtual, basically, arena where not only can you pick the ticket, know the price, understand that you're getting the best possible price, but the best part of it is you can see what your seats are going to look like. It shows you a picture, so you have a point of view version, and that's, I think, for me, the best thing about Game Time. I've used it for concerts, I've used it for tickets for sporting events, and just a few weeks ago, I used it in Vegas to get tickets to a show. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DNVR for 20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create that account, redeem code DNVR for 20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time.
Look, I said chat needs to be having the high highs tonight.
Yes.
That's where Live Well comes into
I
play.
see. Ooh,
All right.
well done.
So Live Well strives to make cannabis accessible to all because they believe everyone deserves to live well. 25 different locations here in Colorado. They have a premium selection of items, whatever it might be, whether it be flower, you can get pre-rolled joints, you can get topicals, you can get gummies. They've got it all. And their supportive staff are here to help you on your journey. If you're new to it, they'll explain every single item to you, or they might explain what might be a good option for you. So they have you fully covered with knowledgeable people. You can go to livewell.com today to reserve your products for in-store pickup, or you can simply stop by your local Live Well and pick up your items with code DNVR25 to get 25% off your one regular priced item. Of course, restrictions apply. Again, go to livewell.com to get your orders reserved for pickup.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff, bud. We'll talk about that lock goal in a sec,
Yep.
but let's talk about the PK too.
Yep.
I mean, fantastic tonight, 3 for 3 against the best power play in the NHL. I really like the way that they played tonight. I was very impressed.
This is great. Yeah, go ahead, E. Yeah.
No, you go ahead. I know what to say. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
The penalty kill had quietly been one of the worst parts of the Avs game to this point in the season, and it does feel like it turns the corner. That's for two reasons. One, I think the chemistry we talked about with some of your depth forwards is translating over to that PK a little bit. But two, it's the thing Eric already said tonight. You're getting saves. You're getting saves on the penalty kill, maybe more than anywhere else. You're getting Scott Wedgewood to show up great. Georgiev showed up great the other night. And I think part of this conversation is I had a conversation with AJ earlier today, and I should have said to pull the graphics out, but there's a pretty distinct difference where the Avs are significantly worse in their net front area in front of Georgiev on the penalty kill, and that's because they don't trust Georgiev from shots from out high. So they have to stretch their PK all the way out to the blue line, and it opens up significantly wider seams for teams to play through on that penalty kill. With Wedgewood, they trust him to make the easy stops. That means they can pack it in a little bit tighter and make teams' lives harder in the dangerous areas, and it worked tonight.
According to Altitude, the Avalanche beat the Red Wings tonight 4-0.
Interesting.
Good. Wow, that's weird. I thought it was the Devils, but hey, what do I know?
They both wear red. It's
Who's running their graphics? Me?
I mean, Tiff, you wouldn't make that mistake. I mean, yikes, bro.
Rudo, I wanted to talk about exactly what you talked about from that graphic that we saw on our group chat, right?
Yeah.
And you're bang on, and that's exactly what I wanted to say. And when you don't trust the goaltender that's in the net, you play differently. I don't care what people say. Anyone can say whatever they want. I am telling you that it is a known fact. When you've played in that league, you play differently. Is it on purpose? No. But is it human nature? Yes. So I do believe the Avalanche, to start, I don't believe their structure or their thought process or all their methods of killing a penalty have gone out the window. They've been successful for a long time. And I do believe that if you get saves like we saw the last couple of days, it makes them a little bit tighter. And the only thing I was going to say, and it's exactly what the graphic showed, was those passes across and the seam passes where, Taves, Makar over the years have been so much better, where even last year they struggled a little bit. That's why we talked about the down year of, Taves or Makar last year, right? If there's something we could nitpick on their game. And this year at some parts of the season, it's exactly what the graph says. It's exactly what you said. There's nothing more to it. The systems are there. The personnel is there. But on top of it, if you don't get saves, it doesn't matter what you do. There's nothing you can do. And if you have confidence, again, I refer to blackjack all the time. And, you go on a run. PK is a very important factor on a team. I tell you, the guys that do PK, the guys that are part of the PK, and that includes the goaltenders. I can tell you back then, Patty would be our leader in that aspect. He would lead the meetings and, be on top of everything, be very vocal. But there's guys like LOC and Parker Kelly, and those guys, they take pride in that. And during those are important meetings in the morning or right before a game, and everything goes out the window if you don't get saves. Yeah, I don't care. You could have every scheme that you want. If you don't get saves, it's just absolutely atrocious. And, and that's any team. That's not just the Avalanche. So, and again, I think that graph that you're talking about, maybe we'll bring it back up at the next show and, whatever. I thought it was very telling. I think tonight you saw a different graph, because of all the reasons.
I mean, you start Wedgewood against Pittsburgh, right? Talking about saves, making saves important. And you start him against Pittsburgh, right, bud?
I don't make the rules. You score a shutout, you get another game. That's the rules.
Oh, man. I mean, I do, but I don't. Willie, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So here's what I'm thinking. I think who started the first of the. I mean, again, these road trips are so long. I'm trying to go back to the first road. It was Buffalo, correct? So It was Georgiev, and then it went sour. So I don't know. I mean, if he goes to Georgiev, it's because they had a plan set up beforehand, and I think making that trade for Wedgewood, as we all know, a career bona fide backup, right? And a good one. I still like him. I'm not. Again, he just got a shutout tonight. I don't want people to think I'm crazy, but I think they got him to be a tandem, so to speak, goaltender with Georgiev. And they might have a plan before the road trip went. They stick to plans. Does a shutout ruin your plan in a sense? Do you change your mind and go with the other? I mean, with the guy that got the shutout? I don't know. I don't know. We haven't really seen a tandem the last few years here with the Avalanche. I mean, we all know Bednar would just go back to Georgiev and Georgiev would be playing, right? But I'm talking about if he would have had that shutout tonight. You know what I mean? But it's a little different. Times have been a little rocky. They do make an acquisition of a veteran goaltender. He showed awesome against Buffalo in a relief where he ends up, getting his first career win with the Avalanche in a very weird manner. And then, loses in, I don't remember where he lost, but I'm trying to remember the road trip. I'm just having a blank right now. But he loses his next contest, which I thought he was more than fine. And then tonight he comes back with a shutout. So, again, you're asking me, who do I play? I play Wedgewood next game. who are they going to play? I don't know. I mean, I honestly, I think for me it's a 50-50. I just don't know how to read them anymore.
I hope they play Wedgewood. I hope it doesn't matter. I think, and this was somewhat true this game. Obviously, Wedgewood played great. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. We'll talk about him more. But I think it's more important for the Avs that they focus in on the skaters in front of them and have them start to tighten the screws and do the right things. And the goaltending will be what it will be until they make a trade for a real starter. That's just the boat the Avs have been living in this year, and it's going to continue to be in that boat until they find the guy.
We're going to talk about the LOC goal in a second. Nice assist for Cal. He had 2 points tonight. We'll talk about that also. But let's take a look at 3 stars tonight. We'll take this one at a time because I want to talk about each of the guys and spend a little time on it here. 3rd star, no-brainer there, Rudo.
Yeah, the only defenseman who actually picked up any points tonight is Calvin DeHaan. Has a 2-point night. And look, the points are great, particularly that LOC goal. That's not a play that you expect out of Calvin DeHaan. That's not a play that he gets paid to play here for, but It shows that he is capable of at least pitching in on the offensive side. He can read a play. He can make a pass. He can set up a quality opportunity. It's a great finish by LOC too, but play doesn't happen if Calvin doesn't get that puck to the middle of the ice in the first place. And maybe more importantly for me is through the first period and a half of this game, DeHaan was one of your best possession defensemen. When the Avs have a period like the second period of this game where they completely shut down another team, that's as much about your defense stopping anything from getting going for the other team as it is your offense capitalizing on their puck possession. So a guy who's not going to get a lot of 3-star nods in a regular season, but he was a guy who showed up and put the Avs, I'll say, make the Avs' life a lot easier tonight.
Yeah, that's the second 2-point night he's had as well recently. So, I thought he was really good tonight, buddy.
No, he was really good. Like I said to you all year long, I like him. He's a solid third pairing defenseman. That's where he is at his stage in his career. It gives some stability, gives some experience, gives some shot blocking abilities. Do I want him to get 2 points tonight? No. Do I give a crap that he doesn't get any points the next 15 games? No. For me, as long as you do your job as part of the top 6 on the back end, then I'm more than happy. But yeah, I mean, I could see that pass, for example, was it 2 games ago to Rantanen across? I think even Rantanen was shocked, that. So I think that's what the Avalanche does. The back end is encouraged to. I was watching the game, obviously, on NHL Network, and those guys were dying one time. That Middleton and DeHaan were the first 2 on the rush. You know what I mean? And they were like, geez, that's their third pair defense. The Avalanche are not afraid to activate it. We all know that's what the Avalanche do, is activate their D. And again, it's kind of nice to play with those types of players. I love it.
Okay, number 2 star on the night, Rudo, and these were kind of tap-ins today, but Casey Middlestat, He's finally got a little bit of swagger left, 2 assists. Is he back? I think so. I think he's got some confidence going now. Yeah,
and those are vintage Casey Middlestat plays. A great pass from behind the net and a great setup on what ends up being Lecky getting sprung for a goal through a bad change from New Jersey's side. Those are the plays that Casey Middlestat needs to lean into, especially when he's in a slump. We saw it a couple nights ago against Carolina where he's trying to do way too much with the puck. And it does feel like he found that reset button a little bit, remembered who he was, and he can go out and be a quality 2C. I'll remind you again, Casey Middlestat's on a 60-point pace this year. He is doing just fine for a 2C in the NHL. He's right there where he needs to be, and when he plays like this, the Avs are an extremely difficult team to stop.
And again, it was vintage behind the net for me. Like I said, he's the best below the goal line for the Avalanche. And then the second one, like he's wide open. But I'll tell you one thing. Last week, he probably throws it right in his feet. You know what I mean? When you're not playing with confidence, you're not playing, but right now, vintage Middlestat, you probably hit like he 10 out of 10. You know what I mean? And that's what you're seeing. So I do believe he is back in that sense. And, those are, again, you get cookies as a player. That's what you need, and it fuels your vehicle, and points certainly fuel him.
We'll get to that number 1 star in just a moment, but the Avalanche were not ordinary tonight, and of course they are a presenting sponsor and an official sponsor of the Denver Nuggets and Colorado Avalanche, our friends at Bet365. And when you sign up, use code DNVR365 and get yourself all hooked up, because every day they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more than over 10,000 boosts every single month. They boost specific markets, winnings, parlays. So make sure you're keeping your eye out for those custom DNVR bets and boosts also. And with the NHL early payout, if your team goes up by 3 goals or more, which would have happened tonight if you bet the Colorado Avalanche like Rudo told you to do, you would get an instant payout and you are a winner right away. Bet365 is a ton of fun. I'm having a really great time with it. I really, really am. It's pretty awesome. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you sign up and just bet $5. That's what I did. Got me hooked, and I've been playing with house money ever since. Sign up and use the code DNVR365. Deposit $10 and place that bet for $5 to get 150 bonus bets. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus, physically located in the state of Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem or thinks you have a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Make sure you do get in with my bets, only when they're right, though.
Yeah.
Only when I get them right. When I'm going to get them wrong, don't use my bets. One thing you can bet on for sure is that no matter where you are in the United States, you can get heard with Verizon. Go get with Verizon today. They'll give you a $200 Verizon e-gift card just for swapping over to them with certain conditions that do apply. Like I mentioned, their network is the best in the country, including a 5G network that can have you connected whether you're sitting in traffic and streaming to your jams, or if you're out camping in, where was it, Muskegon? Is that where you said is the
yeah,
place?
I got a little flack for saying that was my favorite camping spot on Twitter, but it's a nice spot. I like it.
I don't know anything about Michigan,
good.
so you could tell me that camping in downtown Detroit is legit.
It's a good time, too. Also, a little bit more risky.
Wherever it might be, Verizon has the access to get you there. And you can use Verizon access to get you into experiences you love. The best in sports, music, and entertainment just for being a Verizon customer even. Over 1 million tickets for your favorite artists, sports teams, and unique experiences to choose from that you can only get from Verizon. So switch today. Get that $200 Verizon e-gift card. It gets sent within 8 weeks, requires device payment purchase, minimum price of $799.99, and poured in with new smartphone line on postpaid, unlimited plus, or unlimited plan required. Verizon is the way to go.
Can you hear me now?
Good.
Let's take a look at our number 1 star. This one's not a shocker.
No.
Drum roll, please. Yeah, you got me. It's a shutout for Scott Wedgewood. That trade paying off nicely at the moment.
Yeah, you could hear the chat yelling shutout for sure for Scott Wedgewood.
Oh yeah,
tonight.
I saw that. That's great.
I think a point I wanted to make was the one you pointed out right there. You can have your thoughts about the long term and how you feel about whatever, but once again, Chris McFarland looking pretty smart. Through 3 games, Scott Wedgewood has a .951 save percentage and a 144 goals against average. It's a small sample size, obviously, but compared to the season that the other 2 guys have been having in Colorado, those numbers look absurdly good. Even his loss to Carolina had an .882, which is better than the other guys' season-long save percentages. So
you're doing okay.
Scott Wedgewood looks good. I still don't think he's the answer. If you do, he's not. He's been a backup his whole career. That is what it is. But he might be the answer to the Avs backup for this season. And look, you have to keep playing him. If he's going to play like this, you have to keep playing him. If he falls off, obviously you would stop. But for right now, he's the guy to go with just based on playing a hot hand. And it does not take a monumental effort. Not that he didn't play very well tonight, but he faced 25 shots?
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was playing out of his mind. He had to make a couple big saves, sure, but it's just making the ones you're supposed to make. If goalies make the saves they're supposed to make, the Colorado Avalanche have a chance every single night. Got that from Wedgewood and then some.
That's the hill I'm going to die on. For me, it's not the most complicated position to be in the National Hockey League, to be goalie for the Avalanche. It's not that complicated. It's exactly what you just said. Just stop the ones you're supposed to stop, and then some, and the Avalanche will be in great shape. They're never going to give up 40, 50 shots, whatever it is. It's just not going to happen. They're too good of a team. You might have an odd night, you know what I mean, like an outlier. But on an average night, the Avalanche do not give up a lot. And here's what I want to tell Avalanche Nation, too, and in our chat and ourselves, too. New Jersey Devils are an excellent hockey team.
Yep.
They're very good. They've had a great year. Again, they've scored over 100 goals. They don't give up a lot. They're like plus 20 in goal differential tonight. Probably, I mean, I don't know what they are now after the game. But guess what? Look at the first 2 chances they got against. Very similar to the Avalanche this past, this season, where they don't give up a lot. But Jake Allen, was he bad? No, he just didn't make a save. He didn't make a save. And then they were down 2-0. And what does that do? It takes away the sails of your boat, and it's hard to play that way. And I'm not blaming Jake Allen. I'm not. I'm saying he makes saves. It's a different game. It's a 0-0 game. Who knows what the outcome of that game is? But that's what making saves does. And the New Jersey Devils, just like the Avalanche, they let freaking Ross Colton all by himself, because you know why they left him by himself? Because he's from New Jersey, had a lot of people in the stands, and they're like, we're going to give you a freebie, But that's what I'm saying. There are breakdowns. When I hear chat all the time talking about, oh my God, the Avalanche, huge breakdowns. Yeah, they will happen. They happen to every team. They happen every game. But you talk about them once the puck's in the net. If the goalie makes a save, you don't talk about it the rest of the game because it's all forgotten.
Correct.
Saves, cures, everything.
I did want to touch on one thing that I just kind of noticed during that game. I think one of the most obvious differences in stylistically between Georgiev and Wedgewood, when you see Wedgewood playing through screens and fighting pucks, he does a lot better job than Georgiev of recognizing if he needs to go low or if he needs to go high. 5 or 6 times tonight, you saw Wedgewood come across through a screen, throw the shoulders up, and take away the top of the net. Whereas regularly this year, we've seen Georgiev drop into that butterfly. One goes right past his ear and into the net.
Totally agree, buddy. I mean, I totally agree with you. I think he's very under control, right? He's very under, for me. He's very under control in the net. I love the way he plays. Like I said, I've always liked the way he plays. So I think you're bang on in your description of what you're seeing and what you've been getting from the Avalanche.
Well, what we've been getting from the chat is 100 likes.
Taste it. Yeah.
So we've got some mystery winner shots here. I don't know what these are, chat, but thank you for the 100 likes. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. They're Big Avs win. Pickle shots?
Let's go. Oh, yeah.
Those are pickly.
Those are pickly. Those are good. That away. Thanks, Tiff.
I'm going to have pickle breath tonight now.
Because of the smoke, I can't smell. My nose is so stuffed up.
It's getting fixed soon. Fixed soon.
Goodness gracious. Struggling a little here with the nasal. Let's go to Locke. Well, let's go to Locke right now. He got the big hat in the room. We didn't end up throwing him a star tonight, but gosh, what a great... He's just... I love the way that Logan O'Connor plays.
Yep. Dude's just an absolute worker.
I love
100% of the time. He was ice cold to start this year. It finally feels like the glass is broken a little bit on that. He's not going to put in ridiculous redirects every single night, but he's starting to pick up those points here and there. He's really important for the Avs depth for him to produce right now because you don't have that extra body in your bottom 6 that can really help you score. So it does fall on a player like him to help pitch in those points. And that goal is massive. For the Avs to win the first period of this game, which they only played okay in, they win that period 2-0 in a SEGABABA, completely changes the structure of this game. The Avs can breathe a little bit. They can manage their legs a little bit, all because that goal ends up in the back of the net. And it made a night that wasn't supposed to be easy a lot easier.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
And if you're Jersey, if you flip the script, you didn't get that goal. You didn't get that goal from the bottom of the lineup. And then just to get you going And then this is the same thing. Bratt, Hughes, those are the guys that have been carrying the load for them. And on a night like tonight, they would have appreciated or liked a bottom of the lineup goal to get them going. They didn't get that. So for me, Logan O'Connor, what I look for him, especially on the screen, on the TV screen, is when you see him having a pursuit, pursuing the puck relentlessly. That's when you know he's back. And when he's hunched over, his shoulders are leaning forward. That's the real Logan O'Connor right there. You know what I mean? That's just, he's got a good stick, and he's annoying, and then he's just going, and it's nonstop and going and going and going. So, when he does that, he's an effective, and that's why they signed him long term. And it's exactly what you want.
Math ain't hard. You're trying to score a goal. You're a depth player. What do? Skate hard to the center of the ice. It's exactly what happens on his goal.
Pizza.
Yep, just work. I mean, for me, the one other thing I wanted to, I'll go back to it in just a second here, but I think the other thing that people don't necessarily always take into play is what a guy brings to the locker room as well. And I feel like, now that I've been around the team a bit, Logan O'Connor brings something to the room. There's just a vibe about him. He's very effervescent in there. And I truthfully think that's probably also one of the big things that Wedgewood has brought to this team also. They said he was a good locker room guy. They said they were bringing him in for that purpose as well. And look at what you're getting here. I don't think it's a shock that he's playing well and the guys are playing really good in front of him.
I think you're right about Wedgie, but I also think there's a reason they call LOC the mayor of Denver.
100%. 100%.
I'd vote for that guy. I'll put it to you that way.
He's very charming. Yes, and he's very good at what he does. Yes. I mean,
you got, when you score,
he 100% runs for mayor when he retires from hockey, right?
He should.
I mean, I'll vote for him.
Again,
it's either him or Eric Lacroix.
Yeah, former Denver mayor. If you
most eligible bachelor at one point.
Yeah, 1996.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Loved your calendar, by the way. Still have it.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is you're again, LOC, when you score 5, 6, 7 goals a year, whatever it is, you got to bring something else to the table, right? And when you bring something else to the table, you can play in this league. And that's why I tell young kids all the time, what we see is the McKinnons and the Rantanens and the Makars, which is very, very, very special. It's elite. It's not normal. It's a small percentage of the league. Obviously, a small percentage of your team. But if you're willing to play hockey and do the right things and play the game, the hockey is beautiful. It is beautiful. It's 60 minutes of pure, like, you can affect the game in so many ways, in a good way. Of course, you can affect it in bad ways, but you're going to stick to the positive, especially on a 4-0 game. And that's what Logan does. And again, a la Lehkonen, like I always say, they've mastered the art of the simple play. And when they make it simple, it makes you successful. And I watched a college game again last night, and I was with some, obviously, there's so many GMs at that game last night. Oh my God. I get so like crazy when I see, like in an amateur game, like a college hockey game, and you see so many teams represented, and then you talk with people and they're talking about their own players, or obviously players that are going to be in the first round, second round, third round. And that's what they go back to, the simplicity of making the plays. And kids, so many times they just overcomplicated the game. And scouts and people projection of, can he play at the next level? If they see guys just being simple, like I'm talking about the Lehkonens and the O'Connors, and that's what makes you stick around and have longevity in this game. It just does.
How much have we talked about consistency? Simple plays are repeatable. You can do them again and again and again. That's how you be consistent in the NHL.
That's right. It's a hard concept. I don't know why.
Consistency in the NHL is good, and one of the reasons and one of the ways that you get consistency is to try to make sure that you constantly have contact. And that's what constant contact does. And you can get a little piece of this with code ALLCITY. Let's talk about your goals for a minute. For the Colorado Avalanche, it's winning a Stanley Cup. It's playing good hockey, and in the immediate, it's coming away with another victory on this road trip to go 4-1, which is what we're going to talk about next. But how are you tracking your goals? How are you doing that for your business? How are you focusing on where they need to be? Are you close to what your goals are? Do you have those goals? Do you know why you haven't hit them, if perhaps that might be the case? Well, Constant Contact helps you with all of that. We are almost, we are currently in Q4. The new year is right around the corner, and that means it is crunch time for those business goals that you set back almost a year ago. Constant Contact can help you get to where you need to be. You have your goals. They are the ones to get you to where you are and help you meet them and do it faster. With Constant Contact, it is time to put the go in your 2024 business goals with email, social, SMS, and customized marketing campaigns built for you in just a few clicks. Ready, set, go to constantcontact.com/allcity and start your free trial today. Go to constantcontact.com/allcity for your free trial.
And when you've been in constant contact all day, you've probably earned a beer.
Probably have.
Go get yourself some Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR. When the Avs play here at the DNVR bar, $2 off Breckenridge Brewery Avalanche. That's cheap beer right there. But you can also find it at your local liquor store anywhere in the United States. Use the Breck Beer Locator online at breckbrew.com to find it there. Check them out. They have dozens of flavors of beer. If you have even considered enjoying a beer, they've got a flavor for you. I promise. They're a ridiculous amount of them, really. Again, you can get them online, breckbrew.com, use their Breck Beer Locator, and find it at your local liquor store.
I am not a big beer guy, but I had a crush ton of the Avalanche Amber Ales the other day at the ice deck at Ball Arena. I got to hang out with the Breck Brew boys and treated me to a very, very cool seat. It's actually all the years that I've been watching hockey and hanging out, I got to be like, that's probably the first and only time I've ever sat on the glass for a hockey game.
Nice.
It's cool.
Let's go.
The ice deck at Ball Arena. Very, very fun. Very, very, very cool.
Good place to be.
Very fun. Yeah. And the Avalanche Amber Ale, very tasty. These guys are 3-1 on this road trip, and it is a long haul road trip, but holy smokes, they are finding a way.
They are, and if you look back in the summertime and you look at the last road trip, which was lengthy last week, and the road trip right now, last one was 3-1, and then this one is going to be 3-2 or 4-1. So you've won both road trips, and when you set goals, because you do set goals in the summer, looking at schedules and where the tough stretches are going to be, and I'll tell you one thing. 3-1 on this road trip. You know what? You have the opportunity to make it an outstanding road trip. But no matter what, you've won the road trip. And that's a huge, huge plus right now for the Avalanche.
Yeah, I was looking earlier before the show. The Avs have lost 2 games in a row a couple times in this last stretch. I know that's a pet peeve of Eric's. Don't do that. I'm more of a don't go on losing streaks type guy, so don't lose 3 games in a row. Since November 1st, the Avs have not lost 3 games in a row.
Wow.
So I know there's a lot of doom and gloom at times about how the Avs have played, but when you start zooming out and looking at the big picture, they absolutely had a slow start to this season. October was not good. November and December have started to turn things around a little bit. They're starting to do the right things, and they're starting to find more consistency. Even for me, who my last review was literally talking about how random the Avs feel at times this year.
Yeah.
I think at a surface level, that's true, but on the underlying, the consistency is starting to rise to the surface a little bit with this hockey team. With that being said, there are multiple ways to look at everything. The Avs are 3-1 on this road trip. In this stretch of 10, game 21 to game 30, right now they're 5-4. So you got to win that last game against Pittsburgh to go 6-4 in this stretch of 10 and be above 500.
Doable.
Absolutely.
Doable. And that does bring up, we have got about 10 minutes left here, a couple things left to talk about, but let's dive in on Pittsburgh a little bit. What a weird team this year. Crosby signs, so okay, he's sticking around maybe. it's just you don't expect them to be in the spot that they're in.
No, I mean, again, God, I'm going to sound like beating a dead horse. Goaltending is a major thing. They haven't got goaltending. I mean, Jari, Nedeljkovic, whatever you want to call that, the Swedish kid, very subpar goaltending. I mean, subpar. And this league is too hard. If you're getting subpar goaltending, you're not going anywhere. Now, on the flip side of things, they've won 5 out of 6. This is not a gimme game for the Avalanche.
No.
Obviously, Tuesday night. What it does, it makes you feel good because we talked about their 3-1 on the road trip, and then you have the chance to make it an outstanding road trip. So they're going to give it their best effort. They're not just going to go like, oh, we've already won the road trip. We're just going to put it in cruise control. The Pittsburgh Penguins are going to be desperate. Again, like I said, you start the year that they had. They've made a couple small changes, like Rudo's buddy there doesn't really like him. Tomasino, right, comes from Nashville, and then he's had a couple like good games in a sense that he's put the puck in the net, right. He's made a difference, and I'm not saying I like him either. I was just giving Rudo crap, but they had the old threat to Dubas of like, yeah, we're gonna move on from our guys. And again, good luck because everyone has no trades and everyone's older, and I'm not sure what you can do. But they've won 5 out of 6, and I'll say it again: when you've won championships and you have guys like Malkin, Crosby, and Letang. Again, you notice I left Carlson out. Yes, I did. You have those 3 guys. You can win. You can win. I mean, are they getting older? Yeah. But any given night, as we've seen the last couple of years, I mean, I don't know what the record is, but, it seems like Crosby and company are always do pretty good against the Avalanche. So, again, it's not a pushover game. They're going to have to be on their best behavior, the Avalanche, because, like I said, they've won 5 out of 6, the pesky Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh is at the point where, in my opinion, their window is essentially closed, and they actually have some similarities to the Avs in the sense that their starting goaltending has been an absolute mess this year.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for them, they have Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin, but where's the rest of the firepower on that team to outscore their problems? They don't have enough of it. Their defense is suspect compared to the Colorado Avalanche. Cale Makar is irreplaceable. No one can live up to that. Devon Taves is fantastic defensively. They have Chris Letang, who once upon a time was an elite two-way defenseman,
yes,
but now is at the end of his career and doesn't quite have that same get up and go as he used to. And the rest of that defense is, in my opinion, mostly a bunch of dudes.
Yep.
It's hard to, it's so hard to win in the NHL as a singular player. And that's what Crosby and Malkin are right now. They're singular players on a team that isn't built well enough. And the Avs should be able to beat them on paper. As we've seen night in and night out, on paper doesn't mean a whole lot with the Colorado Avalanche this year.
Yeah, you got to jump on Pittsburgh, right? Because, again, that's a team that could be a little bit dangerous. So punch them in the mouth right off the hop, and you got a good crack at it.
Yeah, tonight is a perfect example of that, right? You get ahead, life is so much easier.
Yeah, man, oh man, especially the Avalanche, because people are so scared of them. You know what I mean? They're so scared of them. So if you fall behind and you're the Avs, people are that much. You can tell the bench, the coaches, breaks, whoa, we don't take chances. And I'm not saying you're going to perfect turtle, but you're certainly very cautious. And the Avalanche turned the tables tonight on them. You know what I mean? Because they took the lead, and then they were able to be a little bit conscious. And that didn't mean that they put the brakes on and didn't go on the offense. I'm saying, but at the end of the day, you don't have to press the game. So very important for the Avalanche and any team in the NHL to get the lead, but especially the Avalanche. It just makes them so much more dangerous. And, boy, it's nice to see 2 games in a row doing that. It's pretty awesome.
Day off tomorrow for these guys, most certainly. I don't think they'll skate, obviously, on a back-to-back.
No, I wouldn't expect
they'll fly, obviously. I'm assuming they're flying tonight. I would fly tonight. But it'll be a nice, easy day for them tomorrow. What do you do in that? What's your move there, Eric, in that downtime day off? I mean, get a little bit of treatment.
Yeah.
I mean, but celebrate a little bit here. Nice meal tomorrow, I imagine.
Oh yeah, I mean, for me again, first of all, it's the planes dictate if you're staying there tonight or if you're
Yeah.
going on to Pittsburgh. So the plane companies make sure they're available. Usually teams, I would say 90% of the time, fly out after the game. For all the reasons. I like it better. You just let's move on to the next city and let's call it a day. And tomorrow, obviously, 3 games in 4 nights. This is the tail end of a 3 and 4 for the Avalanche. Tuesday, there'll be no practice tomorrow. Again, just scratches, maybe. Again, do they have scratches? Ludwig is healthy, right? Or is he not healthy? Or I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if anyone's healthy that didn't play tonight, but who knows? For me, a nice guy that I am, I would make sure no one goes to the rink. You know what I mean? And then the equipment guys and medical guys would love me, you know what I mean, for that, because it's a pain in the butt to just go to the rink for 1 or 2 players. So, you got to think of things like that when you're the coaching staff to make sure that, you're keeping everyone happy. And tomorrow night you just go to Pittsburgh, and I used to love going to Pittsburgh, especially with the Rangers. And Adam Graves was one of my best friends on the team, and I used to call the restaurant and pretend to be Adam Graves, and I'd be like, "Hey, we need a table for 10," and then I would tell Gravy, "Tomorrow we're eating at 7. You got to go see the manager, Rudo. He's waiting for us," and he'd be like, "Oh God, you're so stupid. You're so stupid." You know what I mean? But I'm like, well, I mean, I can't use my name to make the reservation. We're not going to get one. They're going to tell us that, go somewhere else. But Adam Graves, they're like, "Yes, sir, Mr. Graves. We'll take care of you." So that was my job with the Rangers. And on a night like tomorrow, it's the perfect night to go get a good meal and enjoy yourselves as teammates, and be ready to go on for the last game and then come home. And obviously, spend a little time with the loved ones back home.
Yep. I do think we have one super chat to get to before we do wrap up the show. $20 from Banks, who says, "Just saying, hey, love you guys and your coverage. Loving these East Coast games so I can catch the live show." I don't know. I'm kind of getting old of 5 o'clock starts. I'm not going to lie to you. There's been a lot of them in the last. I could go, well, I don't know. We'll see. In January, we have a bunch of matinees. So we were talking about that.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah,
the matinees.
yeah.
That'll be a little weird.
Those, I wish every hockey game was played at 11 a.m. local. And then you have the rest of your evening. But
there you go.
Is what it is.
There you go. They do come back after this road trip. This is a weird month for them, no doubt about it. But the home cooking in January that they're going to get, I just want to touch on that real quick. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, the road is good sometimes. I mean, clearly it's good right now. They'd prefer to be home, but do you expect it to be a good month of January for this team? With the amount of time they're going to be at home?
Yeah, I think home's big, and I think even February, with the big break because of the 4 nations, it's a very light schedule. It's not a lot of travel in January, February. When you put the schedule right in front of you, you look at it, it's not a lot. It's just been grueling this past few weeks, and I think it's important. Again, married, kids, way different than single guys. But at the end of the day, it's nice to have a little bit of stability. And, I used to love being on the road, to be honest with you, because it's just so simple and there's no questions asked. And someone's, cleaning up the room and, changing the towels in the bathroom. You don't have to do anything, right? You know what I mean? We're at home.
No
you got to pick up after yourself, So, but I think it's very different for a player that's married with kids than a player that's single or even a player that's married with no kids. Or I think it's all relative. I think once you have kids, it's a lot tougher, to be on the road because, again, nowadays, what you just said, Verizon, all those things, it's so nice to be able to FaceTime and, it's just a different era. So it's a little bit easier for sure.
Yep.
Final thoughts on the big victory. That's a huge win. Maybe one of their bigger wins of the year just for all of the reasons.
Yeah, look, you can't turn the corner without getting some big wins along the way. It feels like the Avs have started to turn the corner a couple of times and then taken 2 steps back around it. So hopefully this one is the one where they springboard off of it and into the rest of their season where they get successful or at least go on a little bit of a run here to give themselves a little bit of a cushion that they haven't earned yet this season. winning the big ones makes the easier ones a little bit easier. Not that any hockey game is easy. They're all NHL players, yada, yada, yada. But the Avs are a team capable of putting good teams down 4-0, even on a SEGABABA. They should be capable of beating some weaker teams too.
And I just want to add, like, this game reminds me a little bit of when they came back from that first road trip, right? They beat Vegas in that game at home. Was it 2-1 win or something like that? I was like, wow, that was a schedule loss in my mind, but they did win. Tonight was a schedule loss in my mind. They did win. So those are probably my two best moments so far this season for the Avalanche.
And that will wrap things up for us tonight. Thank you to all of you in the Toyota chat. Azura, thank you always for being so kind and polite, and you guys are fantastic. We appreciate you sticking around with us, hanging out for the watch along and all of it. Appreciate you as always. Unbelievable job by our producer slash mom slash extraordinaire Tiff. Rudes, good job, buddy. Appreciate you, Rudo.
I can't reach that far.
That's all right. Yeah, you got it. And to all y'all, big 4-0 victory for the Colorado Avalanche tonight. A huge win in New Jersey. They next play on Tuesday against the Pittsburgh Penguins. We'll have the pregame show for you at 4:30. Are we watching along, Tiff?
I think we should be.
So we will be watching along with you on Tuesday as well when they wrap up this road trip. Right now they are 3-1. Boy, would it be nice to go 4-1 and come on back to Ball Arena. Have a great rest of your night. Enjoy your Monday tomorrow. We won't see you until Tuesday. Make sure you do something to make somebody's life better, and give your mom a call. Good night, everybody.
We all silly like the man.